No, I never said that. Well, a lot of people say a lot of things, but the fact is that my position on Mexican immigration into the United States is a little more complex than that. I agree with Cesar Chavez, who was the very famous and legendary union leader amongst Hispanic farm workers back in the 60s. And he says that illegal immigration, unrestricted illegal immigration, is costing Mexican Americans, Hispanics, their jobs and keeping them in poverty. You know, if you're a maid in a hotel in, say, Santa Fe, or a dishwasher in Los Angeles, you know, you can't get a raise. You can't ever expect to get a raise. I knew this one maid who was there for 15 years without getting a raise in pay. And the reason they don't get a raise is because the management simply says, well, if you don't like the job, we'll hire somebody else who will do the job. And what we have in California and in Texas and various places is really a form of slavery. We have people working in the fields amongst pesticides, long hours, without benefits, getting paid no wages at all, hardly getting by. And the reason for that is the fact that there's this incredible pool of cheap labor that keeps them in poverty. So what my position is that we have to have restrictions on immigration. There already is restrictions, but we have to make sure that there is, you know, that everybody's covered, everybody's taken care of. And that's the problem. You know, what we're going to see in the coming years is this incredible explosion of illegal immigration, and it's caused because of environmental conditions. And that's going to put pressure on many societies, which is going to lead to totalitarian reforms, which we don't want to see. So, you know, we have to be practical about this. I'm not against Mexicans, I'm not against anybody, but I certainly believe that we have to control the numbers. You know, every year, 3 million illegal immigrants come from all over into the United States. That's like adding a major city to the country every year. And what does that do? It takes up resources, it takes up land, and it's extremely destructive. This is a complicated issue, and it can't simply be dismissed as saying, oh, you're against immigration. Well, it certainly is. It's a legitimate wish, but at the same time, we have you know, areas in the United States that need to be protected. And you know, when we have more and more sprawl, urban sprawl, taking over forest land, farmland, marshland, to make room for more and more people, that causes problems. And so really what we have is you have a system where immigrants can come in, but it has to be somewhat controlled, because otherwise the numbers will just completely overwhelm the environment and overwhelm people's security and people's jobs. It's really comes down to practicality. I'm all for a planet without borders, and I hope that we work towards that objective. But right now, you know, as long as we have this inequality around the world, where the rich countries are plundering the poor countries, driving the people who are in those poor countries into poverty, forcing them out of their own countries, that's the reason we have these problems. If we had a fair distribution of wealth, then we wouldn't see these mass exoduses from other countries. Instead of having Mexicans, for instance, streaming across the border to the United States, what we should be looking at is reforming the government and the system in Mexico, and also, you know, working on these corporations who are oppressing these people to give the people in that country, you know, a fair standard of living. Mexicans don't want to come to America. They'd rather stay in Mexico. I mean, who wants to come to America, really, when you think about it? But they're forced there for economic reasons. What we need to do is improve those economic conditions in the countries that they're fleeing from.